As we journey through life, our priorities inevitably undergo a transformation. The things that once held paramount importance, the goals we relentlessly pursued, and even the relationships we carefully cultivated may gradually shift in significance as we gain wisdom, experience, and a deeper understanding of ourselves. One such shift that many individuals experience in their later years is a reevaluation of the role and necessity of friendships. The once seemingly indispensable need to maintain a large and active social circle may begin to wane, replaced by a growing appreciation for independence, self-sufficiency, and the pursuit of personal well-being. The assertion that you don't actually need friends after 70 may initially sound controversial, even unsettling, challenging deeply ingrained societal norms that equate happiness and fulfillment with constant social interaction. However, a closer and more nuanced examination reveals that embracing independence and focusing on one's own well-being in later life can be a profoundly liberating and empowering decision. This isn't about advocating for complete social isolation or suggesting that friendships are inherently detrimental. Rather, it's about acknowledging the evolving needs and priorities of individuals in their later years, and recognizing that fulfillment can be found in a variety of ways, not solely through maintaining a large social circle. The key here is the word need. While friendships can certainly enrich our lives at any age, the need for them, particularly in the sense of social validation, external affirmation, and constant companionship, often diminishes as we grow older and more secure in ourselves. The desire to please others, to fit in, or to conform to societal expectations tends to lessen as we gain a clearer sense of our own values, priorities, and sense of self-worth. In this comprehensive exploration, we will delve into 6 compelling reasons why friendships may not be as necessary in your later years as they once were. We'll uncover how your mindset, personal freedom, emotional well-being, physical health, and overall sense of fulfillment can improve when you consciously choose to prioritize independence, self-care, and the pursuit of passions over the often unnecessary pressures and obligations that can come with maintaining a large network of social ties. This isn't about promoting loneliness or advocating for a life devoid of human connection. It's about living life on your own terms, free from the often unspoken expectations and demands that can accompany social relationships, allowing you to focus on what truly brings you joy, peace, and a sense of purpose. It's crucial to emphasize that this isn't about advocating for a wholesale abandonment of all friendships. Rather, it's about recognizing that the nature of friendships may change in later life. You may find that you prioritize deeper, more meaningful connections with a smaller circle of individuals who truly understand and support you, rather than spreading yourself thin, trying to maintain a large network of acquaintances. It's about quality over quantity, authenticity over obligation, and self-care over social pressure. Stay tuned until the end, because you may find that letting go of the pressure to maintain friendships that no longer serve you isn't just liberating. It might just profoundly change the way you see yourself, your later years, and the very definition of a fulfilling life. Now, let's embark on this insightful journey to redefine friendship and embrace the power of independence in later life. 1. Transcending the need for external validation, embracing self-acceptance and inner worth. One of the most profound shifts that occurs as we age is a gradual lessening of the need for external validation. In our younger years, particularly during adolescence and early adulthood, friendships often revolve around proving ourselves, fitting in with a particular group, or keeping up appearances to maintain social standing. Whether it was impressing colleagues, navigating complex social circles, or striving to be included in every gathering, there was often an underlying pressure to be seen, accepted, and admired by others. This constant need for external approval can be exhausting and ultimately detract from our sense of inner peace and self-worth. However, as we reach our later years, we often arrive at a stage in life where none of that is truly necessary anymore. We've lived through enough experiences, both positive and negative, to have a solid understanding of who we are, what we value, and what truly matters to us. We've built our legacies, raised our families, pursued our careers, and made our mark on the world, and the opinions of others simply don't hold the same weight they once did. At this age, we've seen enough to understand that true fulfillment doesn't come from external approval or social status. It comes from within, from a deep sense of self-acceptance, inner peace, and a connection to something larger than ourselves. There's no longer a burning need to chase friendships for the sake of status, reputation, or social standing. You are who you are, and you don't need anyone else's validation to confirm it. Many younger people spend a significant portion of their time and energy worrying about how they're perceived by others, whether they're liked, admired, or respected. But by the time you've reached your later years, you likely realize that none of that ultimately defines your worth as a human being. You define your own value, and you don't need a group of people around you to constantly reinforce it. This realization is incredibly liberating, freeing you from the need to constantly seek approval and allowing you to focus on cultivating your own inner sense of worth. Consider the story of Harold, a man in his early 70s who spent the majority of his life climbing the corporate ladder. He was always surrounded by people, colleagues, acquaintances, so-called friends. But most of those relationships were built on convenience, shared professional goals, and the need to network. The moment he retired, those superficial friendships began to fade, as the common ground that had sustained them dissolved. At first, Harold felt the need to reach out, to keep those ties alive, out of habit and a lingering sense of obligation. But then he had a profound realization. Why should he invest his time and energy into maintaining friendships that only existed because of work? Why chase relationships that were never truly meaningful or deeply connected to begin with? Instead of trying to hold on to friendships out of habit or a fear of being alone, Harold made a conscious decision to shift his focus inward. He started spending more time on personal hobbies, rediscovering old interests that had been neglected during his demanding career, and, most importantly, he stopped caring about impressing others. He found that without the constant pressure of maintaining superficial friendships, he actually felt freer, more authentic, and more at peace. There was no more forced small talk, no more obligatory social engagements, no more worrying about whether people liked him or not. He was simply living for himself, according to his own values and priorities, and for the first time in a long time, that felt truly good. That's the key to understanding why external validation becomes less important in later life. When you no longer seek your sense of worth from others, you begin to realize how much energy you were previously wasting on friendships that didn't add real value to your life. You don't need to prove yourself to anyone anymore. You don't need to keep up with anyone else's expectations. The only person you need to answer to is yourself. This self-acceptance and inner confidence is a powerful source of strength and resilience, allowing you to navigate your later years with grace, authenticity, and a deep sense of inner peace. 2. Prioritizing inner peace and solitude, choosing calm over chaos, and redefining connection. As we progress through life, a fundamental shift occurs in our priorities. While social interaction and external stimulation may have been paramount in our younger years, a deep sense of inner peace begins to feel far more valuable as we age. Being surrounded by people, attending lively gatherings, and engaging in constant conversation may have once felt like a necessity, a vital part of a well-lived life. But as time goes on, we start to appreciate something even more: quiet. And not just any quiet, but the kind of profound and restorative quiet that allows us to truly be at ease with ourselves, free from unnecessary drama, obligations, and the often draining effects of social fatigue. Many friendships, even the good ones, come with a certain level of responsibility and expectation. There are phone calls to return, invitations to accept, social events to attend, and unspoken expectations to maintain contact and offer support. It's not that friendships are inherently bad or undesirable. It's simply that at a certain point in life, they can start to feel like more effort than they're worth, particularly if those friendships are based on superficial connections or a sense of obligation rather than genuine enjoyment. The truth is, you don't have to spend your time and energy trying to keep up with others or feeling obligated to be available just because someone expects you to be. You've reached a stage in life where your time is truly your own, and you have the right to decide how to spend it in ways that bring you joy, peace, and a sense of fulfillment. This might mean choosing to spend more time alone, engaging in solitary activities that nourish your soul, or simply enjoying the quietude of your own company without feeling the need to constantly seek external validation. Consider the example of Margaret, a 74-year-old woman who used to have a large and active social circle. Her calendar was always full of lunches, group phone calls, holiday gatherings, and various other social engagements. But as the years passed, she noticed that many of these social interactions felt increasingly draining rather than fulfilling. The conversations started feeling repetitive, with the same stories being told over and over. Some friends only called to complain about their health or their families, while others seemed more interested in gossip than in meaningful discussions. The initial joy of companionship had slowly transformed into a tedious routine that she no longer truly enjoyed. One day, Margaret made a conscious decision to step back from her hectic social life. She stopped feeling guilty for saying no to invitations she wasn't genuinely excited about. She let go of the pressure to respond to every call or text message immediately, realizing that she had the right to prioritize her own time and energy. Instead, she started embracing the quiet and solitude that she had previously avoided. She found that the time she once spent managing and maintaining friendships was now hers to use however she pleased. She took longer walks in nature, spent hours reading books she had been meaning to get to for years, and rediscovered the simple pleasure of gardening. Most importantly, she realized that solitude wasn't lonely. It was peaceful, restorative, and allowed her to connect with herself on a deeper level. That's the beauty of this stage in life. You're no longer obligated to fill your days with constant activity or conversation just to feel connected or validated. You get to enjoy your own company without the need for constant external affirmation. You get to choose peace over pressure, calm over chaos, and authenticity over obligation. This doesn't mean you have to become a recluse or cut yourself off from all human contact. It simply means that you're prioritizing your own well-being and making conscious choices about how you spend your time and energy. So, if you've ever felt guilty for pulling back from social obligations or choosing to spend more time alone, remind yourself of this. You're not withdrawing from life. You're embracing a new kind of fulfillment, the kind that comes from within, the kind that doesn't rely on anyone else's approval or validation. And that kind of inner peace is something that only gets better with age. 3. Fewer friendships, fewer disappointments, cultivating realistic expectations, and protecting your emotional well-being. One of the hardest lessons we learn in life is the realization that not everyone we call a friend is truly there for us in the way we expect or need. Over the years, you've likely experienced the pain of close friends drifting away, the disappointment of friends becoming distant when you needed them most, and the frustration of realizing that some relationships are inherently one-sided, with one person giving far more than they receive. By the time you reach 70, you start to understand that fewer friendships don't just mean fewer social obligations. They also mean fewer opportunities for disappointment and heartache. Friendships, no matter how strong or seemingly unbreakable, inevitably come with expectations, both spoken and unspoken. There's the expectation to check in regularly, to be available to offer support during difficult times, to reciprocate kindnesses, and to maintain a certain level of engagement. But what happens when those expectations aren't met? The result is often disappointment, hurt feelings, and a sense of betrayal. You call someone, but they don't call back. You make an effort to reach out and offer support, but they don't reciprocate. You find yourself constantly giving more than you receive, investing more time and energy than the other person is willing to contribute. And at this stage in life, do you really need that kind of stress and emotional drain? The answer is a resounding no. Consider the experience of William, a 78-year-old man who has seen countless friendships come and go throughout his life. Some ended naturally as people moved away or their lives took different paths. Others faded because he realized that he was always the one putting in the effort, initiating contact, and carrying the weight of the relationship. There were people he had known for decades who suddenly became too busy, too distracted, or too uninterested to maintain a real connection. At first, William was deeply hurt by these experiences. He wondered what he had done wrong, why certain people seemed to forget about him or devalue his friendship. But then he had a profound realization. He wasn't the one who had changed. He had simply stopped tolerating friendships that weren't mutual, reciprocal, and based on genuine connection. That's the key to understanding why fewer friendships can lead to greater emotional well-being. When you let go of the idea that you need a large group of friends to be happy and fulfilled, you also let go of the potential for disappointment that comes with unmet expectations. You no longer have to feel frustrated when someone doesn't check in, let down when a friendship fades, or resentful when you find yourself giving more than you receive. Instead, you get to focus your time and energy on the most important person in your life, yourself. This doesn't mean you have to isolate yourself completely or become cynical about all human relationships. It simply means that you're consciously choosing quality over quantity, prioritizing the relationships that truly matter to you, the ones that bring you genuine joy and require no constant effort to sustain. Whether that's close family members, a small circle of lifelong friends, or even just a strong and meaningful connection with yourself, those are the relationships that truly count and that will provide the most emotional support and fulfillment in your later years. So, if you've ever felt like friendships have brought more stress and disappointment than joy and support, remind yourself that it's okay to step back, to reevaluate your relationships, and to prioritize your own emotional well-being. It's okay to choose simplicity over complexity, peace over frustration, and self-care over social pressure. You don't need a long list of friends to feel fulfilled. You just need to let go of the ones who were never truly there for you in the first place. Fourth, time becomes your most precious resource, investing in what truly matters and reclaiming your autonomy. As you get older, a profound shift occurs in your perception of time. What once seemed like an endless supply now reveals itself as a finite and precious resource. In your younger years, it may have felt like there was always more of it. More time to spend with friends, more time to invest in social circles, more time to worry about who was in your life and who wasn't. But by the time you reach 70, your perspective shifts dramatically. You begin to see that every hour, every day, every moment is a gift to be cherished and used wisely. And when you understand the true value of your time, you naturally become more selective about how you spend it. Friendships, as fulfilling as they can be, also require a significant investment of time and effort. There are calls to make, visits to schedule, plans to keep, and social events to attend. And while some of those connections are undoubtedly worth maintaining, many are simply habits we carry over from the past, relationships we keep out of obligation rather than genuine enjoyment, social engagements we attend out of a sense of duty rather than a desire for connection. At this stage in life, you have the right to ask yourself, is this how I truly want to spend my precious time? Does this friendship add to my happiness and well-being? Or does it feel like just another item on my ever-growing to-do list? Am I spending my limited time engaging in activities and relationships that nourish my soul and bring me joy? Or am I simply filling my days with social obligations out of a sense of guilt or obligation? Consider the experience of Richard, a man in his early 80s who once had a highly active social life filled with dinner parties, group outings, and regular phone calls. But over time, he started to feel differently about these engagements. The long conversations that once felt enjoyable and stimulating now felt draining and repetitive. The social gatherings that used to be exciting and invigorating started to feel like tedious obligations that he dreaded attending. One day, as he sat through yet another lunch filled with polite small talk and endless complaints, Richard had a moment of clarity. He realized that he simply didn't want to spend his time this way anymore. He didn't want to waste his precious hours listening to gossip, enduring shallow conversations, or fulfilling social obligations out of a sense of duty. He wanted to spend his remaining time on earth doing things that truly brought him joy, peace, and a sense of purpose. We'd love to hear from you. What's one thing you've learned from this discussion, and how do you plan to use it in your life? Your thoughts are important, so don't hesitate to share them. If you found this discussion helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating content that informs and inspires. Thanks for reading, and we look forward to connecting with you in the next video.